The Walt Disney Company's ABC News is in a whole heap of trouble as their 30-year anchor superstar, Terry Moran, has decided to let loose a cannon. He definitely is, telling the truth about the biases at ABC News. Today we'll tell you how much the news network has to lose and whether or not Bob Iger can save the house he built.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Moran, and for almost 28 years I was a reporter and anchor for ABC News. And as you may have heard, I'm not there anymore.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel that continues to change hearts and minds simply by telling the truth with a capital T. Folks, we do not lean any direction other than let's get honesty out on the table yet again. And as we do so, we only ask that you click the like button. Here we go, folks. Happy Monday, by the way. Fired ex-ABC News reporter Terry Moran lashes out with very petty claim after axing over Trump rant. This is from Will Potter out of the Daily Mail. Now, you need to know that the Daily Mail is likely highly sympathetic to what Terry is saying. So then why is the Daily Mail framing it this way right off the bat, calling him petty? Well, could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that Bob Iger and the Walt Disney Company, who are perceived at this time as stalwart lefties, that they need some helpies? And so they're asking for the help. They're getting the help from the way that this is being presented, but not from all sources. We'll get there in just a moment. An ABC News reporter fired over an anti-Trump ex-post has started a petty squabble with his former employee over his axing, his former employer. Terry Moran took exception to an ABC News spokesperson's suggestion that he was at the end of his contract anyway, and that the anti-Trump rant he had sealed network boss's decision not to renew it. Last week, Moran was sacked after branding President Trump and his top aide Stephen Miller richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. ABC top bosses fired Moran within 2 days of him sending and deleting the post, citing a clear violation of the network's policies. Now, if you paid any attention to last year leading up to November, you know that ABC News was just as partisan as could possibly be. There have been studies put into this. So what has caused the change of heart? Why is it that Disney CEO Bob Iger was said to have been in the White House, in the Oval Office meeting with Trump? Well, because the game plan didn't work. They didn't manage to make happen what needed to happen, and now they've got to get ready. They've got to bunker down. They don't want to end up like CBS News, right? CBS News has an FCC investigation. Disney has already lost once with George Stephanopoulos having to pay out to Trump. They don't want to be under more investigations. And by the way, Disney is currently under investigation by the FCC with an inquiry. You want to get the words right, okay? Not a lawyer here. He said his former employer's framing of his contract situation, this is back to Terry Moran, was incorrect and accused ABC of bailing on a pre-existing oral agreement. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Terry Moran must be kind of Terry Moran, right? Because you all and I know that oral agreements are only so good. You want a name down on the contract. You want a name down on the paper. But Terry Moran says he had a pre-existing oral agreement. Okay? Now, what Terry would need is some sort of email. He needs an email. But the problem for Terry is that whether or not ABC News and Disney are properly expressing what the situation with his contract was, he is said to have broken the contract. So he's kind of fighting on the surface level when deep down he really made the execs frown. And the reason he did that is not because they disagree with him. The reason they're so frustrated with him is because he put it out in the daylight. That's a big no-no. You're not supposed to put it directly out in the daylight. We had a deal, fumed the anchorman, the 30-year ABC News anchorman. So let's see what old Terry's saying. Now, folks, if you haven't seen what Terry said, this is it right here. We're showing it to you right now. This is what Terry said. We covered this the other day, but it's getting uglier, and Terry is attacking back. We're going to talk about the broader implications of this in just a minute, but you can see really what got him in trouble is he said Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. Okay. If you say that about him, it's basically impossible for you to pretend that you're covering him in an unbiased way, right? Okay. Then we've got this insider who comes out. Says an insider at ABC News previously told ABC News Disney, previously told Fox News that Moran was quickly ousted from the network because he gave bosses no other choice after sharing his anti-Trump beliefs. Says, we blanking took it seriously and dealt with it pretty blink quickly, they said, adding that the network wanted to avoid a drawn-out investigation as they decided to axe him within days of the post. And why? Folks, we covered this the other day. Why did they feel the need to get rid of him so quickly? Why no investigation? Why no drawn-out process? Because they have an FCC inquiry into them and they don't need to add to it. All right, here's what Terry is now saying. Here's Terry's defense.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Moran. And for almost 28 years, I was a reporter and anchor for ABC News. And as you may have heard, I'm not there anymore. I'm here with you on Substack, this amazing space, and I can't wait to get at it, to get at the important work that we all have to do in this time of such trouble for our country. I'm going to be reporting and interviewing and just sharing with you and hoping to hear from you as well. So it'll be a few days, maybe a little bit longer. Got to get some stuff sorted out, but can't wait to see you.
All right, Terry, here's your problem. The problem is that you now have to fight against the new media. You've gone over to Substack. I don't think people care very much to find out what you have to say, but you have been attacking at the foundation of journalism. Let's talk about that. Going over to Fox News. Bill Maher is now lamenting about the former ABC reporter. That would be Terry again. Here's what Fox News has to say about Bill Maher. Overtime host Bill Maher called out former ABC reporter Terry for his social media rant against President Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, arguing that he looked to the ex-ABC journalist to be impartial. Now, of course, we don't do that here, folks. We know that these reporters and these anchors are not impartial. We know that this is essentially a system to carry the water for very particular political viewpoints, right? There is a financial incentive for them to do what needs to be done to carry the political message of the day. The talking points, if you will. But Bill Maher says, this guy is a reporter. What the blank? He said on the overtime segment of the show, Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday, as his guest Ian Brimmer said that there were lots of jobs in which someone could post what Moran did on social media and added, journalism is not one of them. Well, it was, and that's the problem for Terry. That's the problem for so many of these others. They are living in a world that has changed. They believe that they should still be able to behave the way that they did last year. And now the CEOs don't want them anywhere near their organizations. Remember, MSNBC has been spun off, right? Comcast has spun them off. CNN is being spun off from CNN. What that means is they're kicking them to the curb. They're saying, you can continue to exist because it's a big headache for us to close you down. But you're no longer going to be affiliated with us. You are going to be your own company, your own board, all that, because we are more than bored of you. We are sick of you. All of these organizations are closing shop, shutting down, and the new media is taking over town, okay? And that's why when you watch Terry posting on Substack, what did Terry do? Did Terry jump ship to CNN? No. Did Terry jump ship to MSNBC? No. Might he in the future? Maybe. But probably only because he's crazy to try to get the new media because he can't exist there. Do you think Terry could make the kind of money, the Disney bucks that he had over at ABC News, sitting there on Substack? Who cares what Terry has to say? His job was to stare into the camera and read from the teleprompter. Moran posted on social media that Trump, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, you already know that. There he is again. But Bill Maher quoted Moran's description of Miller and said, brought up the ABC deal. Now he's on Substack praising the opposition to Trump. Oh, here's what I wanted you to do. Okay, here's what I need you to see. Terry immediately moved to Substack after parting ways with ABC News over the post. He published his first Substack on Friday. And get ready for it, folks, because this is what's really damaging. This is where we get into the nightmare stuff of Disney. He published his first Substack Friday, praising the opposition to Trump and those who have spoken out, writing, we will lose this democracy if we do not use our voices. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that the unbiased, impartial, neutral umpire and referee, the anchor that ABC News sent to interview Trump, he's actually a man with a serious case of TDS. He's actually a political activist, as are so many of the others in ABC News. This disabuses folks of the idea that impartiality exists at ABC News. We already know that, but for the average person who finds this out, that's what they're now realizing. If the main man, the big kahuna that the chief cheese has these kind of beliefs and will go out there and say these kinds of crazy things. Well, what does it say about all of ABC News? And thus the headache, thus the nightmare. And maybe he's doing this on purpose, right? Maybe he's the jilted, tilted ex telling Disney, hey, you want to fire me? Fine. I'm going to send up the smoke. I'm going to send the FCC on you. And the FCC is already investigating. Now, let me explain that FCC investigation real quick. You might say to yourself, well, Pro, what's the FCC investigating? Ostensibly, the FCC is investigating Disney over their DEI hiring practices, claiming that Disney, and by the way, full disclosure, the website which I own and operate, That Park Place, through my LLC, That Park Place was cited by the FCC as an authority in this investigation regarding the evidence brought forth about Disney using improper, allegedly, DEI practices to hire based on immutable differences. Now, I don't put that as a braggadocious way, but we do need to do the disclaimer there since it is the truth of it. Okay, so what the FCC is investigating is the DEI hiring practices. What could be on the table, though, is whether or not Disney is using their network status for making ABC News, which is supposed to be the news carried forth on a network, using the people's airwaves, right? Using the airwaves granted by the government to put forth an impartial and biased propaganda system rather than actual news. And if that's what they're doing, then that's in non-compliance with what the mission is supposed to be and what's part of what is necessary to be granted continuance of the network airwaves. Now, all of that's a lot to say this. If this guy blows up the whole kibosh, if the FCC decides they need to investigate more and they open this inquiry more broadly, then Terry Moran is what he's doing is he's causing a massive headache. Do I think that the government's going to step in and strip away the network status of ABC and damage Disney that way? No. Do I think it could become a massive legal quagmire for the House of Mouse and something that Bob Iger wants absolutely no part of? You bet. And are they fretting behind the scenes right now in Burbank over the idea that Terry Moran is going to get out there and expose the rest of the people in their beliefs at ABC News because he is, again, the jilted tilted X? Oh, you better believe they're wondering who's next. You better believe they're wondering what this guy's going to say on his Substack. But he is part of La Resistance now, and he may have always been, he was, okay, let's just say it. Deadline has this by Ted Johnson. And it says, Terry Moran defends Trump Stephen Miller's social media post that led to ABC News. It was something that was in my heart and in my mind. This is by Ted Johnson again. Folks, what Terry is saying is, it wasn't a mistake. He stands behind it. And the question is he going to call out his colleagues at Disney and say, these people believe it too. They fired me for simply speaking the truth that we all believe. Terry said that his social media post in which he labeled Donald Trump and his aide Stephen Miller world-class haters was not a drunk tweet and something that was in my heart and in my mind. Speaking to the Bulwark's Tim Miller on Monday, Moran said that you don't sacrifice your citizenship as a journalist drive-by, and your job is not to be objective. Yes, it is. That is literally, they fired you for not being objective, although you should have known that, objectivity comes and goes, right, in these things. Last year, maybe not so much, but this year you were supposed to fake it. You were supposed to fake it, Terry. You didn't fake it. And so Disney decided to shake you on out. Says there is no Mount Olympus of objectivity where a mandering class of wise people have no feelings about their society. We're all in this together. Let me say it again, folks. Oh, Terry's job was to look at the teleprompter, look into the camera, and say the words. These people, they want to get on their high horse. They want you to believe that they are the warriors. And this happens over and over and over. They want you to believe that they are the warriors. They are the brave ones. With their seven-digit contracts, right? 7-figure contracts and living in their very prestigious homes inside their social bubbles. There is no threat to them. But they want you to think that they are the white knights riding in when their job is to literally sit there and read what someone else wrote for them and stare into the camera. They're the pretty boys and girls, right? They're the subject of TV blooper reels. Says, we're all in this together. What you have to be is fair and accurate. Okay. But you can't be fair and accurate without being objective. that's just, wait a minute. Maybe what Terry is saying is that the only way to be fair and accurate is to come at this from one particular direction. Now, folks, there are those out there who claim that the Pro Channel is, a right-wing theme park outfit. And to that I say, oh, come on, just quit. Listen, we do cover theme parks. We cover everything in entertainment. That's what we do, right? ABC News is part of ABC, is part of Disney. This is a big deal because the status of ABC as a network is now being put farther and farther into jeopardy. Same as CBS. So we have to cover this. But if this guy were someone on the right, okay, let's say that he came out and as an anchor, he said, we must defeat Joe Biden. We must defeat Kamala Harris. We must stop them. They're a threat to democracy. Now, some of you out there would agree with that, right? But as the news anchor, that is inappropriate to say. You can say it if you're a commentator. You have to differentiate these things. But if you're the news anchor who's supposed to be reading the words on the screen and putting it out there for the world to hear and see, and you're trying to give neutrality because that's part of the requirement that was never enforced before, but is now the requirement for network status, then you've got to be in the middle. You got to be in the middle. And what do we say, folks, if you've watched this channel very long, what do we say? From an economic standpoint, what must entertainment companies do? They must go to the mainstream middle, the sensible center, where money is made. We say it over and over and over. If we were leaning, if we were tilted, then we would never say such a thing. We would argue in favor of a conservative Disney. We don't do that here. We would argue in favor of a conservative ABC News. We don't do that here. I argue in favor of going to the middle. And why? Folks, I have my own political viewpoints. So do you. The reason that entertainment companies should go to the middle is very simple. And that is because, as Mark Kern has so eloquently put it, the guy who started World of Warcraft, entertainment must be in the middle, as it was in decades prior, because it is there that the different political factions can come together to a place of neutrality to have something to enjoy together. Because if you're on the left and the right, you tend to stick with your buddies, your pals, and those political beliefs, right? But what does football do? Football brings Republicans and Democrats to sit in the bleachers together wearing the same jersey. What does a good movie do? A good movie causes Democrats and Republicans to come sit in the same theater and watch something together and talk about it together. Entertainment is the watering hole in Africa, right? Where the animals decide they're going to pause eating each other and attacking each other because water matters more. That's what entertainment is. Entertainment, along with some other very important things that we won't discuss right now, entertainment is that which creates the adhesion that holds the culture together. And when politics enters into that, it's like a cancer. It's like it's metastasized into a place that it should not be. Now, Terry Moran works for an entertainment company. And that entertainment company really wants to keep their network status for obvious reasons. And now, Terry Moran is threatening that because Terry might be a big talker. And what Bob and everybody else at Disney, what they have to worry about is, how much mouth is Terry going to go about doing online with his little Substack? Who's he going to throw under the bus? And how damaging is it going to be to Disney? Folks, that's what we will be paying very close attention to. All of this, we got to say, is breaking today. And there's plenty of news out there. And we're happy that you come our way to watch this so that you know what's going on with Disney and ABC. But just know things can very rapidly change. We're going to keep an eye on this one because it really matters. This guy's mad, and there is no telling where he's going to go to make sure that the folks at Disney know what his name is. All right, folks, click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And until the next time, we have the honor, the privilege, and the responsibility of getting to speak with you. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Oh, yeah. Can't believe I made it. This thing is great. And now I have my own emoji on WDW Pro's channel.
Right? Hey, everyone's been wanting me for, like, ever. But just remember, you're like a pity vote.
Thanks.
By the way, do you want me to turn on the bubbles?
They are on. Aren't they?